Hi guys, so I am still away on vacation. This video is recorded in advance. But yeah, I am not around for this Wednesday update, so I figured I would give you this video instead. Hello everyone and welcome to this Stories with Siren video series. We are talking about things that are going on in my life and things that happened in the past. Some of it SSO related, some of it not. But today we're actually talking about Superstorm Sandy, and this is actually the storm that made me delay creating this account. So I'm going to get into all of that. We are going to ride around Golden Hills, Valley Beaches, and the boardwalk. And we're going to just talk about Hurricane Sandy and why it took me so long to get this account up and running way back in 2012 when the hurricane hit. And yes, obviously I am not here physically speaking. I'm still on vacation. That's why there is no Jorvik Mountain Horse video. But there will be one it's either between Thursday or the weekend coming up. Not entirely sure, but we'll figure it out. So let's go ahead, get started. Alright, you guys, so Superstorm Sandy happened on October 29th, 2012. Jeez, so hard to say that. Oh, I should mention even before that we get into this, that this is kind of like a one-take wonder. I'm not really doing edits, so if I mess up, I mess up. But anyway, so when the storm happened, we really didn't know the intensity of it. We knew it was going to be bad, but we didn't know how badly it was going to affect us in the long run. So where I live didn't really see all that much flood damage per se, but what happened was, because the winds were so intense, it brought down a ton of trees, and it also brought down a ton of power lines. Transformers exploded. I remember that night watching transformers explode one by one. It was all just like a blue light, and you just kept seeing them going off one after the other, and it was crazy to think about it this so many years later. But that's what happened. And once the storm was finally over and said and done, we had no internet, we had no power, and for like days, we were essentially told that we would get power back in a week. Well, actually, no. It was originally supposed to be 4 days. 4 days turned into a week, and what turned into a week actually turned into 2 weeks. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So obviously this happened around like Halloween time. So when this happened, obviously Halloween was postponed. I think it was November 1st or 2nd. I got to go trick-or-treating with my friends. It was awesome. But yeah, this was my senior year of high school when this all went down. But obviously before the storm, I was going to be like, okay, like I'll make my account around Halloween. Well, the storm had other plans, obviously. But anyway, but yeah, we were told like for like days that it would be restored this date and that date, and it just never really came. So essentially, I lived like it was in the Dark Ages. Like, I wish I had like the photo to show you guys, but I literally slept with a candle next to my bed, cause we had no power. We had no power for 2 weeks straight, exactly. And what's funny is that even though we didn't have power, Eventually, my school did have power, but it lost power. But again, ahead of myself. When actually we were trick or treating though, with all my friends, there were a lot of down power lines still. And we had to like be really careful because not everything was fixed. And this was like 5 days after the storm. Um, yeah, it was 5 days after the storm when all this happened. Well, when Halloween happened for us. Don't get me wrong, it was still great. I still had like a blast doing it, but it was definitely different to walk around on Halloween and not have like Halloween lights on or decor, because obviously it gets darker here on the East Coast uh, much earlier. So it was crazy. It was really crazy. Um, but like I said, we finally went to school. Yeah, like around, I want to say, what? Let me think here for a second. Um, I would say we didn't go to school for almost like a week and a half. And go figure, the first day we go back, we lose power. And of course, I text my mom, like, hey, we just lost power. She was like, well, guess what? You have power. We're back on at the house. I'm coming to get you. So, because my mom wasn't about to let me stay at school with no power when we have power at home. So, needless to say, my mom came and got me and my brother. And we headed home to a house with power, and just in time because there was a pretty severe snowstorm that hit literally the day of. Like, it was just starting. But yeah, we had no school for, yeah, a week and a half. And shockingly, it didn't get taken off our um, calendars. Like, we didn't have to, make up those days. Because around the same time is when the teachers' conferences were going on. If you guys have that now, you know what I'm talking about. Like, they take, like, a week and a half off, or they'll have, like, half days. But they just took the week off. So we essentially had, like, if my memory serves me right, we had school for about a day. The power went out. We couldn't go back to school because there was no power. And then that week we regained power, but they had teachers' conferences. So obviously we had quite a long break from school, which was really cool. And ironically, we didn't really have to make up the days, which I still don't understand how that worked out, but it did. And I was able to graduate around the time I was supposed to, which was obviously what you want. You definitely don't want to be stuck behind because of a storm that you have no control over. But yeah, that was kind of that. But this obviously did delay my SSO account being made because I was going to make it around Halloween, because normally that time kind of lightens up for me. But keep in mind, around that time I was busy with high school, and I was busy at the barn and being around horses, so Star Stable wasn't the main priority per se at the time. But obviously it all ended up working out because now I have the Star Stable account and I have all of you guys. Funny how those things work. But yeah, it was like really just a crazy time. But I looked back on it now because my account was made November 12th of 2012, and I got Star Rider, I think that December. And if you're wondering what the price of lifetime Star Rider was, it was only $45. It was pretty cheap back then. Obviously, you don't have those prices now, because obviously Star Stable is a heck of a lot bigger than it used to be. But yeah, I mean, that was just a crazy time. And one thing, like, that strikes me the hardest about Superstorm Sandy. If you guys look it up, the Jersey Shore, where they filmed on the Jersey Shore, is where I vacationed every year with my parents since I was born practically. So I didn't obviously like vacation on the boardwalk itself. We obviously vacationed in the we're near the state park that's there. Um, Obviously the name just escapes me now. Go figure as I'm talking about it. But yeah, we vacationed there pretty much every summer that I can remember, and the boardwalk was just annihilated. And what made it even worse was I don't remember if yeah, it was that either like summer or fall they had like the huge fire, and that was just absolutely devastating. Cause that's literally like where I spent all my summer evenings with my parents. So yeah, I mean that was like the hardest thing about Superstorm Sandy. It wasn't losing power for 2 weeks. Looking back on it, even though living like it was the 1700s was interesting. Um, One thing I will mention that I did forget to mention before was my mom. Obviously, because we had no power, we didn't have a refrigerator. But it was cold enough outside that my mom made a makeshift like refrigerator. So what she did is she took, I think it was a Tupperware. No, it wasn't Tupperware. It was a rubber, like one. Have you ever seen like those plastic storage bins? She took that, lined it with foam, stuffed it with ice packs from my dad's job. And when she did that, it essentially kind of created a makeshift refrigerator, and because it was cold enough outside, it all kind of worked out. So it was literally the bin was pressed up against our basement window, and all you had to do if you wanted to get something out of it was open the window and then close it once you were done. So it was actually pretty ingenious of my mom to do that. But my mom's an engineer, so makes sense. But you know, looking back on it, like I said, the hardest part wasn't like losing power. It's all the devastation that we had. Especially with Seaside Heights, because not just myself, but a lot of my friends, we all vacation down there in the summer with our parents. So to see that devastated, and to see the roller coaster in the water and all the rides and the boardwalk on, that was like the hardest part of it all. And to only have the fire afterwards was really, really tough. It really was. I mean, do I want to go 2 weeks without power again? I would prefer not, but if I had to, I know I could do it, because I went through it with Sandy. And I know many of you are probably younger and can't imagine like what that's like, but it's pretty crazy. It's very hard to put into words what that was like to have no power for 2 weeks. Obviously, if I did this video many, many years back, but Star Stable wasn't that big of a thing, and I didn't have any like real desire to have a channel back then. So that's how that all ended up working out. But I mean, but eventually my Star Stable account did get made. It got made, like I said, November 12th, 2012. And I got Star Rider as a Christmas gift. That was that December. I think it was December 16th, if I remember correctly. No, it was Christmas Eve. And that's pretty much how my account came to be. And now I'm able to make videos for you guys, and yeah, that's kind of pretty much it, as in terms of that. But I mean, To be honest with you, I love uh, that it kind of went that way. Even though I really didn't play much during my high school days, because obviously I had school, even though we really didn't have much homework, because we kind of were the guinea pigs for like the new school system, which I think that system has been torn out from most schools. But we were essentially the guinea pigs all 4 years of our high school experience. Alright, sorry I had to pause. But yeah, they literally sat us down and told us, like, hey, for the next 4 years, you're a guinea pig for the new system that's going to go into all high schools in New Jersey, and that's going to be the makeup of schools around the USA. So that was fun to find out that we were just guinea pigs, and our test score and some of our scores really didn't matter all that much because, again, we were guinea pigs. But no, I think the system that I went to high school with is probably gone now. I think they've changed it drastically because it wasn't a great system to begin with. But that's a whole nother video. And even then, I don't know how much of it I remember, to be honest with you. As you guys will find out when you're older, you really don't remember that much from school. Aside from the basics like your colors, your numbers, reading, writing, like the basic stuff. Like I don't remember calculus. I don't remember that unless you're actually trying to graduate with something that needs calculus. Then this video obviously isn't directed toward you, or that statement wasn't directed toward you. But you know, it's so interesting to obviously see where school has kind of gone. I'm kind of glad I'm out. I mean, the only thing I really miss about school, I would say, is like my art classes, because that's how I got kind of into game design and animation. But I definitely don't miss it. I'm very glad to be out of it. School in general, but especially animation and game design. Ugh. Never want to do that again. Never, ever, ever want to do that again. Can't pay me enough. It's way too mentally taxing. And I think that's why I get mad at some of you guys that, like, bash the creators. Because you really don't know how hard it is until you've done it yourself, and I have done it myself. And it's just... I wouldn't ever wish that upon myself, truly. But yeah, I think we can pretty much end off this Stories with Siren video, because I ran out of things to talk about in terms of Superstorm Sandy and how crazy that was. Definitely don't miss it. Definitely know I can survive 2 weeks without power, so I guess I got that going for me. Alright guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is basically about Hurricane Sandy and why my account took so long to make. But obviously, I love where I'm at now. I love all of you guys and all the support you have given me, so I appreciate that. I will be home soon from my trip, and then we can do a video about the Rocky Mountain horses and talk all about them, and yeah, should be fun. So let me know if you guys have any Superstorm Sandy stories in the comments, and that is pretty much it for me. So as always, you guys remember to keep positive. Happy trails, everyone. I will see you in the next video.